rewind it a little bit. Because excuse me.
Originally defended the cops, and so the police unions and the police culture is so strong in our politics. The Republicans aid and abet that 100%, but a lot of the Democratic officials, almost all the Democratic officials, certainly the Democratic establishment, but even progressives like de Blasio, are still intimidated by the police unions and that culture.
So Eric Garcetti called him back up to the podium to clarify his statements, and I think he did a pretty crummy job because there was no clarification. He meant what he said. But judge for yourselves, here's his walking back of the previous statement.
And I shall judge.
So I misspoke when I said his blood is on their hands, but certainly their actions do not serve the enormity of his loss and cannot be in his memory. Looting a store, burning a building, attacking a police officer, nearly killing one, but across this country, seeing the death and the destruction cannot bring honor. It's not done in an honorable way. The reforms, the justice that needs to be achieved, what his name should stand for is the catalyst for change. And I would ask everyone, every group, every organization, that as they bring voice to that needed change, that we join with you. And so I regret the remarks of that characterization, but I don't regret, and nor will I, apologize to those who are out there today committing violence, destroying lives and livelihoods.
So, that's whose hands he said the blood was on in the first place. And he comes back to say he apologizes for saying that. But he does not apologize to those that are doing. So then who the fuck did you just apologize to? If I break your car window and how do I say, I apologize for breaking the car window, but I will not apologize to you for breaking your car window. Then who the fuck am I apologizing to? What the fuck am I apologizing about? I'm apologizing to the motherfucker that I'm telling the shit to. Like, yeah, I apologize for breaking it, but I'm not gonna apologize to them for breaking it. What? How the fuck does that? What the fuck are you? Who are you apologizing? Don't apologize to me. It ain't me that you need to apologize to. You ain't talking about me. You talking about them. I apologize to them. If you don't apologize, then what the fuck you just saying for? You don't mean it. That's my
creating this destruction.
You full of shit.
Yeah, I want to say something here. Can you imagine if the police in situations like this.
What you do. As long as there are people in this world that have criminal intent, there is no way to weed out those who have hidden criminal intent, hate, or whatever. Following their Facebooks and all that shit don't mean a motherfucking thing. I'm saying that it's like, as long as there are such things as Ku Klux Klan and people that have hatred towards any other race or hatred towards any other human being or ulterior motives for personal gain, there is no way that any one person can actually be able to prevent the actions of another person. There's no way. An officer can be a good cop for 15 years. Never did shit wrong. Treated everybody with respect. Woo-de-woo. One day, his wife leaves him. Next day, goes to working. Takes it out on the sleeper cells. People trained from 5 years old to be this pretend such and such and infiltrate, and I mean, for real. I'm not just making shit up. Even though it sounds like some hypothetical made up shit, it's the truth. You mean to tell me you don't think if there was some way that they were able to flip the whole situation about the police, and all the police were stand-up people to the core, and nothing was ever happening? You don't think there wouldn't be somebody that's angry and so forth that's gonna go and act so forth just so they can turn a few bad apples, you know what I'm saying, all that kind of shit? So, excuse me, yes, the police need to be restructured and so forth, but the biggest thing before that, the heart of people need to change. And when the heart of people change, then the ability people will have to live on common grounds is more possible. But even then, you won't be able to stop those that have animosity, secret hate, or out, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Hate would have to be wiped out. I don't know why, but it is immensely the word I want. But it would have to be wiped out to where there's only like 2 or 3 little germs left. Maybe that just become, okay, this ain't gonna work. We're gonna have to have secret hate groups and be quiet and just, you know what I'm saying? But no, that's not gonna happen. You know, if it does happen, that's gonna be that civil unrest of the New Age Civil War. When it comes to the definite divide of I don't want to say it'll be a black and white war. There's not going to be a race war like that. It won't. Because there's too many folks that identify with black culture, even with their own culture. And there's too many different cultures for, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it wouldn't be able to happen like that. So it would be more of the rich and the poor war. The rich trying to wipe out all the poor people so they don't have nobody to hate. And the poor people trying to wipe out all the rich people so everybody can be able to be on the common grounds. But then when it's crazy.
Targeted only the looters, and not just to protect the stores, but to also protect the protesters, so that the protesters could protest in peace and say, hey, you guys are besmirching what these protesters are doing, which is the most fundamental right we have in America, and we're not going to let you get away with it. So the people doing the looting are often doing it in an organized way and doing it to make money. And so they're using the protests in the most crass way to get their own personal objectives. Imagine if the cops said, we're not going to let you do that to the protesters. Instead, here in LA, again, one of the
And that's where I have the difference of opinion on this shit. Because if they think that everybody that's looting is only looting for personal gain and only rioting just because they're opportunists and just taking advantage, they're wrong. African Americans are very emotional people. We wear our hearts on our sleeve. Even the gorilla in us is an emotional thing. Anger and pain, love, like, so forth. There are some people that are taking advantage and so forth and taking opportunity. Excuse me. But I can guarantee that there's a lot of people that's out there on some, like, nigga, fuck that, fuck this, I'm finna fuck shit. Like when the one video I was watching, and they was talking about how the young man passed away, shot by the police 7 times, and like you can hear all the niggas in the background, like, man, fuck, nigga, I'll tear this shit up, man. Like, that's the emotion that comes with anger when you losing loved ones. Like, when you lose somebody, period, and it comes from, I don't know, this is how, like watch a football game and tell me that when they lose a game or they lose a fellow teammate, he hurts himself, they don't get mad, they don't be like throwing the ball or like flipping tables over or something, like, you like, you dig what I'm saying? Like, it's not just a bunch of motherfuckers that's like, oh, they're protesting, let's go break a window, this is the perfect time, we can make some money. Hell nah. It's not all just motherfuckers that's like, hey, let's break some shit and make it all fucked up because it's peaceful over there and we're gonna make it look like a riot, and then a whole bunch of people are gonna be like, hey, ooh, we can steal some shit, let's steal some shit. Nah. There's a lot of motherfuckers in that's like, we fucking shit up because y'all keep fucking with us, and if y'all don't quit fucking with us, we gonna show you that there's powers in numbers, and anybody and everything in the way is getting motherfucking. But then it's the opportunities of there's a big group doing it, so we're gonna do it where the big group is doing it, and so forth. And then you just got all these different reasons that's doing this common thing, and that's where it becomes, understand that there's a big message. The big message is, if this shit wouldn't happen, then none of this shit would be going on. But because this shit happens, the whole shit is happening. Motherfuckers is angry, and motherfuckers is taking opportunity, and motherfuckers is trying to get $1, and motherfuckers is just being peaceful. Period. All because the cops because the cops keep killing folks for no reason. But it's not just the cops killing people for no reason, it's people having a prejudice towards certain types of people, because those cops are people before they become cops. They take that fucking uniform off and they go home and they have certain thoughts and feelings about certain types of people. They have those certain types of thoughts and so forth before they become police officers and so forth. Some of them have certain thoughts that and beliefs that their family and other half don't even know, because they hide it because it ain't right. And you know what I'm saying? And it's too many different motherfuckers for them to be able to monitor that type of shit. Period. How many pastors is there that, how many motherfucking, and yes, I'm comparing all of it to, because it's all the same. Motherfuckers is evil and deceitful and untrustworthy. Just the same as you got motherfuckers hiding inside of a peaceful protest in order to cause destruction. You got motherfuckers hiding as judges to cause destruction to a peaceful. You got motherfuckers hiding as senators. You got motherfuckers hiding as school teachers. You got motherfuckers hiding how many cases are there of people having babysitters and then everything's gravy with they babysitters, but then they put a hidden camera in their house and find out the babysitter is fucking evil. There's a case I'll never forget of the old lady. The old lady, the bitch was like 70-something, 80-something years old. Nigga, they found like hella bodies buried in her little garden in her backyard. This shit was when I was like 12, 13 years old, or whatever the case is. But the lady was like renting her the place to motherfuckers and then killing them, and then like to continue receiving income or some shit. Like a old ass granny, for real, acting like a sweet old lady. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers is. So unless there's a way to cure that and for everybody to be on some, you know what I'm saying, actually gives a fuck about another human being, then there ain't gonna be nothing we gonna be able to do to actually make sure that until some kind of way, like, shit is wiped out to where nigga, it goes back to a hidden feeling of hatred where it is not okay, it is illegal, it is against the law, you are going to jail. Like, they already got hate crimes, but like, I don't know.
The most liberal cities in the country. We have the cops bragging about how they arrested 70 looters, but 700 people overall, and that 90% of the people that they arrested were protesters. I don't see how that's the point of pride. Because at the end of the day, you know why cops don't like protesters? Because they think that they rule the streets. They're the biggest gang. And remember, we've covered this 1,000 times on this show. Biggest crime in America is disrespecting a police officer. It's not actually criminal, but they think it is. They think it's the worst thing you could possibly do. You will get your skull cracked so quick if you talk back to cops. So they think protest. Are you saying I'm not in charge? I think they think it's a personal offense. So,
but to my hood niggas. To shit, you don't even gotta be from the hood. There's a lot of people that can agree. To have had this one thought about officers, right? Man, that motherfucker, you could tell that motherfucker used to get punked and bullied in school, right? Because it be them motherfuckers, the CEOs and shit. Them motherfuckers that when they was little, they used to get punked and nobody wanted to play with them. And they used to get beat up and shit. So them motherfuckers went to the army and went and worked out. And now they big and now they like, you punks, and like taking all that anger out. So, who are those people? Regular people. The regular citizens that go and get jobs as cops in order to, excuse me, do their part. Help clean up the streets of all this bullshit and so forth. In their eye. You know what I'm talking about?
Of course they do. Of course they do. The protests are about them, and they hate it. They hate it. Of course they do. Look, this is what I mostly want to say to cops who use this type of rhetoric or this type of narrative in responding to what's happening in the country right now. I don't think anyone is a fan of the looting. I'm not a fan of the looting. I live close to a community that was looted heavily yesterday, and it's a minority community. It was actually the first community that Trump targeted because of its undocumented immigrant, population. And all of the businesses there are small businesses that are owned by minorities. So watching that area of Los Angeles County look like a war zone yesterday was just disheartening and terrible. However, the best way...
Now that's the part that I don't agree with, is that the shit is only happening in the local and so forth. Like, if that's what it is, and that's like, I don't condone this shit, but like, they supposed to be marching and acting up everywhere to the point where they gonna be like, hold on, we need to do something, because they're not just doing it in the little cell. Like, damn, nigga, the half the state is fucked up right now. We need to make a change. But as long as it's only happening in the certain little areas, they can still be able to point and say, look at them over there. They're dumb. Yeah, they're not coming over here with that shit. So there, that makes it worthless. Tearing up Compton but leaving Beverly Hills alone. Some motherfuckers is up in Beverly Hills looking like, look at them motherfuckers over there. They stupid. Well, I hope they get this shit together over there. They acting up everywhere. Motherfuckers like, hey, y'all better get the shit together, because they over here fucking it up. They fucking up everything. They fucking up the little no towns. Nigga, like, get this shit together. But, you know, again, none of that shit would happen if the police didn't do the shit that they do. But the police wouldn't do the shit they do if it wasn't secret agents in that motherfucker. And if they didn't have they gang bond. Like, yeah, that part. When they start handing out equal sentences for a crime, like, this is what this crime gets. If you do this crime, you getting this amount of time. I don't give a fuck who you is. As like a motherfucker said that due to the fact that Trump is the president, that this motherfucker could bang somebody in front of everybody, and the most that they could do is call for an impeachment. He couldn't be arrested for it and all the shit. He is the and therefore he can't be charged because he can just say that it doesn't exist as a law anymore or some shit. Like, what? Nigga, huh? Who the how the hell? What? But, period. You're an officer, you commit murder, you get murder charges, you get murder time. All this secret little codes, like, you know, they used to do little secret codes for you get pulled over and you get a ticket. The cop make you sign the ticket. You get a copy, and then they get a copy they gotta send to the judge. On your copy, your shit is regular, but on their copy, they put a little smiley face or a frowny face, which is just a little code for letting them know that you were either cooperative or not cooperative, which has to do with whether the judge suspends your license or says no fine type shit. When there's that not kind of shit not going on due to a motherfucker's life, all that shit, like, then, but as long as there's human beings that need personal gain and want power and so forth, ain't gonna be nothing to be able to truly prevent it other than the fear of doing time for a crime. That's why all them cops walked off after dude is charged with Rayshard Brooks. They like, oh fuck that. I fuck around and do that shit, and then I'm gonna be hit with murder. Got them niggas scared to be polices now. Well, exactly that. Have that, stay a police officer, but have that same fear. And don't do that shit. Because you have many other options. That's it. But if you refuse to try to take the time to use your other options, don't feel the need to try to pressure a motherfucker into admitting they're drunk, and you know they drunk, and they asking you just like, you know, come on, let me walk right here, I leave the car. Like, are they really doing something that, like, you feel the need to arrest them for? Or you just trying to get you a motherfucking quota fill and drop a motherfucker off so you can get your, what's that, your commission? Every time I get to moving my hands, this nigga want to feel like she can just get to attacking my hands. Stop. But, yeah. Because if you watch that video when they stopped that boy and was talking to him, that cop was just itching to get him to say, drinking what? How much did you? Yeah. So, like, and you see dude just like trying to beat around it and tell him all kind of other shit, didn't say that. But you know that he's intoxicated. He even admitted, he's like, yeah, man. He said, oh yeah, I can tell. But yet he's still trying to get him to admit some other shit and try to sneak attack with the arrest. Instead of being calm and, say, I need you to take this test, but okay, I'll take the test. Well, I just gotta let you know that, if you do blow, so forth, this is, or whatever the case, I don't know. He had the sneak attack he was itching to get the arrest for whatever reason. Wanted to search that car and try to find and see if he had other shit, drugs and shit in the car. Thanks. Bullshit, Cuddy.
To, deal with this situation isn't just to emphasize the looters and make these protesters out to be criminals and just conflate them with some of the actions that are taking place in these stores. The best way to do it is a little bit of self-reflection. Los Angeles County has had issues with policing for a long time, including right now with...
And so if you're not from the motherfucking streets, like, truthfully, and when I say from a level of life where your neighborhood is full of poverty, to where even if you're not one of the kids that hang out on the corner in front of the store, you see the kids that hang out on the corner in front of the store, and the dudes that's and so forth, because this is your neighborhood and this is what your neighborhood, and so you don't hang out with them, but you know who they are, they know you, you don't, so forth, but your mom and your dad knows them, or you know who, like, everybody knows, and this is so when you walk into the store from home for your parents, you see them motherfuckers over there getting fucked with by the police for nothing. You see this going on. You see that, like, you get fucked with by the police, like, because the whole community is subject to that bullshit on a daily, regardless of... And that's where that vicious cycle and shit starts, with being a black teen, because they itch for a reason to throw your ass in juvenile and start the cycle off. Because once you go in, like, yeah, there's rarely anybody that went and, like, that was the first and the last time. And if so, it was people that was able to have an opportunity to no longer be in places and situations that would get them caught up in those situations. But in a black neighborhood or the urban community, shall I say, all you gotta do is be three black boys walking together, walking down the street, and the police is jumping out on you, get up against the wall, running through your pockets. You ain't did shit. You not doing shit. There could be a chip bag on the ground that got some dope in it, because there are motherfuckers that live around here that's selling dope. They find the chip bag, they can put the dope in the chip bag. You got a dope charge. You're going... you in juvenile now. You ain't never did shit. Now you in juvenile, and what is motherfucking incarceration? Incarceration ain't nothing but school for criminals. It is. If you go in not knowing nothing, you will come out knowing something. All the shit, like, so truthfully, like I said, unless you grew up in those type of environments, folks will not understand the pain of that environment, of that community, of those communities, because it's really like, from a person watching it on the internet, yeah, there's a thought of that could be me. That, but then there's kind of a safety feel when your neighborhood or your community isn't like that. For people that's going through, they don't even have to see the shit on the internet. They see the shit. Like, they the motherfuckers that's talking about it and catching the shit on video and all the shit. You dig what I'm saying? Because this shit is a motherfucking regular. It's a norm. And that's the pain of it could have been me. Because that motherfucking same cop that just that's the motherfucker that pulled me over the other day. Yeah, that motherfucker he was the motherfucker that, like, the community know these punk ass cops. These cops be cops for years. It's a community that they deal with, that they go in being assholes to. You know what I'm saying? Every urban community got they cops that they know, and motherfuckers know them by their name. You know what I'm saying? Like that Officer 10, that motherfucker was there when I lived in Minneapolis. I know who that motherfucker is. There's always a RoboCop, a motherfucking hella different character given names, because these motherfuckers are the motherfuckers that come through just on that bullshit, just like on that bullshit. They not from this community, they a rookie, and you motherfuckers gotta call them out on that bullshit. Oh, you a rookie, huh? You trying to impress your partner. You on that bullshit. Your partner trying to tell you don't fuck with us, but you want to fuck with motherfuckers because you know on the job, and you want to let motherfuckers know that you're here now. There's a new, like, this shit is for real. These motherfuckers really do that. So there's a different pain that is directly in those communities, to where motherfuckers have that feeling of, I don't give a fuck, and anything and everything's getting fucked up. And then you gotta also realize that even before the protests and the riots and so forth, not everybody is able to travel. A lot of motherfuckers are stuck in their communities, in their areas, and so forth. So just because there's a protest and riots and shit going on, doesn't mean that motherfuckers have the access to take that shit out of their communities and show their rage somewhere else. Motherfuckers are stuck where they at. But when it's a unionized shit of rage going on everywhere at the same time and so forth, then that shit speaks volumes to the masses, because they see that the flames is reaching hella far. You dig what I'm saying? But so it's just the same as when motherfuckers get robbed that live in the neighborhood they got robbed in. Cause it's like they motherfucking robbing motherfuckers because they can't get the fuck out of town to go somewhere else and do the shit. And then motherfuckers do it's like, it's just so much shit that people are trying to look over and not think about and realize as they're just trying to say an overall message of this needs to be, and these people need to not, and this is why they're, and that's not. You can't, because there's too many different layers of people and reasons and so forth. That's just reality.
The latest police chief, his name is Alex Villanueva, and as soon as he was elected as, the sheriff, as soon as he was elected as the sheriff of Los Angeles, you know what he did? He reinstated cops who had been fired for excessive force, and in one case, a cop who had been fired because of domestic violence against a woman who's also part of the LAPD, right? And she had video evidence of him trying to break into her home. So he had been fired previously for stalking and domestic violence. And then Villanueva comes in and reinstates him. Why? Because he helped Villanueva in his election campaign. So that's the kind of cultural issue within the police department that needs to change, within the sheriff's department that needs to change. But instead of that self-reflection that's so desperately needed, why don't we go ahead and focus on the looters and conflate peaceful protests with those looters? It's the messaging is wrong, the culture is wrong, the mentality is wrong.
Everything.
If you don't have Democratic politicians calling out this police training, the police culture, and their actions over and over again, then you're never going to get that reform. And they're never going to view us as the people that they are serving. They're only going to view the wealthy and the powerful as the people that they are serving. And it's not an accident that it developed that way. And by the way, you know where LA used to recruit their police officers from back in the day? Alabama. So they bring in people from Alabama to target minorities here in LA. That's why part of the reason why the LAPD was so notorious. And Daryl Gates, who used to run the LAPD, during the riots in the early 1990s, again, would not stop looters, but instead went to go crack the skulls of the protesters and put them in jail. Because the reason they don't focus on the looters as much is because it's a form of punishment. Hey, you don't like the way that we're doing policing? Why don't we let them rob you and burn places down and arrest you for protesting? So it's got a long history here in LA, as it does all across the country. If Democrats don't have the courage to speak out against it and demand change, we'll never get change.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials.
Oh, thank you. No thanks. "38 minutes ago, police gunned down 18-year-old security guard." Nigga, what? This nigga Tyler's a bitch, bro. Tired of playing you. Hoe ass nigga, bro. You just think you's a pro. Nah, nigga, you's a hoe.
Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies fatally shot an 18-year-old auto body shop security guard. Now, this happened, because The sheriff's deputies claim that they saw him flash a gun. That's their justification. But even though we have few details and the story is continuing to develop, the one thing that has been confirmed by the sheriff deputies themselves is they shot this 18-year-old as he was running away. His name is Andres Guardado, and he was, again, a security guard for an auto body shop. In fact, the owner of the auto body shop said the following: "We had a security guard that was out front because we had just had certain issues with people tagging and stuff like that. And then the police came up and they pulled their guns on him and he ran because he was scared, and they shot and killed him. He got a clean background and everything. There's no reason." Now, it's unclear whether he was wearing his security guard uniform. The cops claim that he was not. I am not willing to just believe the narrative coming from the sheriff's department, so I'm just putting that out there. But they claim he wasn't wearing a uniform. But honestly, even if it's confirmed that he's not wearing a uniform, he was running away. He was running away. So why was there a lethal weapon used? Why was he shot and killed if he was running away and did not pose an imminent threat to anyone, right? And by the way, his family is denying that he had a weapon on him. The cops claim that they retrieved a weapon from the scene.
Yeah, look, first a point about the power of propaganda. In my entire life, up until now, and mostly including now, whenever you got a local news version of this, they would always say, and the police say this as if it was fact. And that is how they tell you, black people are lying, the police are not. They've said it literally millions of times in every market in the country, always reinforced.
He was a regular nigga playing security. He was not a security guard, just from hearing the story and so forth of what happened. Like, he was a regular. Like, he was just, you know what I mean, hood security. He was there to help protect the store from motherfuckers doing shit. But he wasn't an official security guard that worked for a security guard company that had security uniforms and a licensed pistol. So he probably did have a pistol on him, and he probably got scared because he didn't want to get caught with the pistol. And flashed it at them, but running away in the time where the police was killing motherfuckers, I doubt that. Because if he was about that, I feel so more he would have probably stood there to flash his gun at them, not run and then like start a shootout with them. So he was probably trying to toss his gun. But this is just like, you know what I'm saying, like nigga on the street hearing about the shit. This is what my assessment is of it. And the point is though, he was running away. There's no need to shoot him. But as long the fact that he had a pistol on him and so forth, they're gonna be able to try to say it was justifiable. And that's the fucked up shit. Because if he just flashed it, didn't raise it to aim it, then they could have shot him in the shoulder or shot him in the leg while he was running and stopped his ass from running. But again, because what's to stop them from saying that they shot him in the leg to stop him from running, and then he raised the gun like he was going to shoot, and then we executed him? There's nothing. There's nothing. They can say that. The only thing that'll prevent them from doing and saying that is video camera, video footage, and definitely sentencing for crimes, criminal activity. But as long as they're allowed to turn a body cam on and shut it off during the time of incident and turn it back on, then that's okay. To fuck. It's all kind of shit, bro.
We're seeing police are good people. They always tell the truth. And if black people disagree with them, they're all liars. Millions and millions of liars. Okay? Now, once we started seeing the videos, hey, turns out the cops lie. Well, I'm going to say on a regular basis. So, is it 100% of the time that cops are lying? Of course not. Is it 100% of the time that they're in trouble, that we find at least some lie? Pretty close to 100%, yes. So if you tell me to believe the cops, yeah, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. And so I asked this morning in our production meeting, why is this a giant story? It looks like there's another African-American that they shot in the back. He was clearly running away. I know why. There's no video. And so until the video emerges, the cops will probably lie about it. Everybody in the press will report as if they're not historically massive liars. And
NYPD officers encouraged to call out sick on July 4th. I said today is crazy because I really didn't mean to, but somehow I came home and I put on red, white, and blue. And then I noticed, like, what? Because today is the day of our independence. Even though we don't truly get it.
hoes got plenty, only cribs up in my city. I'm trying not to lie out. Stay lit like the lights be. 16 with a standing clip, sticking out the bag like a backseat. Growing up, I was U-turn, and well, they like me. So little nigga on the cheap back, recipes to the park, recipes little Yankee. Recipes all the east siders wanna be if they can. House parties on Fifth Street, ain't no rules get janky. All the niggas ain't built, but it's this great rag you playing. Nigga, we on that jet flip shit. If you ain't no fuck about a bitch, we poppin' shit and let it flip. We lockin' if a nigga trip, we cockin' shoot a nigga slip. Only thing we knew was really quick. That's all we knew, nigga on Crib Street. Now I'm real riding them gangsters. Can relate to a bus. You know a lot of real niggas go beef when they cook. You know a lot of real niggas say who was and who wasn't. You know a lot of real niggas start crying rivers like Justin. No bitch, I'm bustin'. I'm red tape too cuppin'. Day one's just a couple. Think day one I don't trust them. Day one my brother. My brother's on my team. Like now me.
That nigga came and knocked Jabberlock out the way. That nigga Jabberlock, he was alright in a second, but shit like this is still gonna be going on.
More violence plagues the city of Chester as police make arrests in the shooting death of a 13-year-old. Joe Holden is in Chester with more for us. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Jessica. Two things going on here on this Tuesday. Police seem to be running nonstop. They had 8 shootings in the city on Monday. They are working to solve as many of those cases as possible. In one incident, 5 people were shot outside. And now comes word the arrest of 4 people accused of killing a 13-year-old boy from last month. 8 people shot across the city of Chester on Monday, a violent day recorded in a city that needs help. That troubling statistic is met with a major development in a tragic homicide.
Man, it's just so heartbreaking.
A month after they buried their 13-year-old son, the Davises got news today from U.S. Marshals and police. 4 people are now held on first-degree murder in their son's killing.
It's so bitter for me, man. Not just because he's my son. He was one of these people that's once-in-a-generational kids that was just, he wasn't selfish about himself because of this athletic ability he had. Going into 9th grade, he's one of the top 5 kids in football and basketball.
Nikes Davis had an infectious smile. The Chester 8th grader was a natural talent on the basketball court and football field. He was shot numerous times on May 3rd behind St. Catherine Drexel Church.
He was targeted, he was chased down, and he was executed in the middle of the day.
His heartbroken parents have continued to celebrate his life. His graduation banner hangs proudly outside the family's twin home. Friends keep vigil at his nearby grave where lights, flowers, and balloons have been placed. Neighbors were visibly relieved with word arrests had been made.
Good, they finally caught the
Court documents show the 4 suspected killers confronted Nikes Davis. Their movements in a silver Acura SUV with Delaware tags allegedly tracked by surveillance. Prosecutors wouldn't single out who pulled the trigger or disclose why they believe Nikes was targeted. As many as 3 eyewitnesses placed the 4 suspects at the scene.
His last word she heard him say was, "Why?" I can't get that out of my head. Why?
Tonight are being held without bond at the jail here in Delaware County. We're live in Chester. This is Joe Holden, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Joe, thank you.
That's that dumb shit, man.
This is Singapore. It's one of the greatest growth stories of the last several decades.
Oh my God. This is crazy. There's hella motherfuckers that really want this nigga to win. They want this motherfucker to stay in. This shit is crazy, Brody. Oh, wow. What? Hurricane Chris, bruh. That's crazy. Hurricane Chris was arrested for murder. Hurricane Chris just saw, hey, baby. That's crazy, Cuddy.
Back at y'all with another Chirac Street Legends, and this episode is going to be about none other than P. Rico, aka the Chirac Vegeta. 12 had me pulling off like this. P. Rico comes from that Brick Squad D block set. They're from Eggleston to Harvard. Their main block is 69th and Eggleston. They're part of that Insane or Crooked Eye movement. They beef with Lamron, K-Town, AMG, Dog Pound, DOD, SMB, Dipset, and Lowlight. Rico would get popular on the drill scene in the summer of 2012 when him and Lil Mister would drop the song No Lacking. That same month, P. Rico would be featured in a song by the legendary Smiles that would also feature Dez, Tony Blanca, and King Drake, called 069. Now, at that time, Chief Keef was holding it down for the DDs on the other side, and P. Rico, Lil JoJo, Mister, and Smiles were basically holding it down for their side. Tragically, towards the end of 2012, JoJo end up being killed, and that would be a big blow to Brick Squad. Even though it wouldn't completely stop Brick Squad's traction, it would slow them down. Despite the death of his friend JoJo, P. Rico would still drop his legendary album, Welcome to Puerto Rico, where he would drop his hit singles, Making Noise, and Hang With Me.
Man, we got some shit that make noise. Shorty, she looking at me, she wanna hang with me.
After the death of JoJo, a lot of the alliances that Brick Squad would have would break up, and P. Rico, Lil Mister, and Rico Reckless would become the faces of JoJo World, with Smiles dropping legendary beats, and Lil J also representing the cause. P. Rico's street reputation would precede him, as he would have many run-ins with the police and be jailed, and he would also have many run-ins with his ops.
Playing outside, bro. Is that a Beretta, a Ned? Bro, I got upstairs all that, boy. Fuck wrong with you? Yeah. No, time is overdue. Man, bitch, you been knowing what's going on. Fuck wrong with you? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't do that. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I don't know what you're talking about. We finna go outside and play in a minute, though, bro.